at the break, we start to get to know everybody a little bit more. We start to get ready for the next guest, and we're live on Facebook here, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. My next guest has been on with me now several times. I have with me Wes Peters. He's the CEO of Gold Wealth Management. You're also the author of several books, and I'm calling books. Well, we have many of them that you have written here, and I want you, first of all, thank you to be back on the show, but to talk a little bit about you, a little bit, and why you think that it's so important that people think about diversifying their portfolio and getting some little gold in there.
Right, absolutely. Well, thank you, Carol. It's always great to be with you. Just to give you a little bit of my background, I grew up in North Phoenix. Right out of high school, I went into the Marine Corps. Spent 8 years in the Marine Corps. I was a mechanic on fighter jets. I got out of the service in '94. I went back to school and I got all my securities and insurance licenses, and essentially just sat down with families, putting together a financial plan for them to help them reach their retirement objectives, if they want to save for the kids' college, what that looked like, debt elimination strategies, how to cascade their debt and get out of debt faster, to free up money to put towards those retirement and education goals. Because as we all know, debt is the thief of wealth. When you're strapped with a lot of debt, it's hard to save when you're just struggling to pay the bills. So we put together programs like that as well. And then I got introduced to the precious metals industry, and that was in 2009. And I went from an industry that was very highly regulated, where you had to be licensed, you had to do continuing education, you had to be, a fiduciary, you had to be responsible, and got into the precious metals industry. And rather quickly, I found out, unfortunately, that there's zero to no regulation in the precious metals industry. And so I decided that I wanted to start a company that really took the approach of education first, because that's not the case a lot of times. A lot of times it's you need to do this now, there's pressure, the fear of missing out. So we take time to educate people, and I built Gold Wealth Management on the same values I learned in the Marine Corps: honor, courage, commitment, service to others. And so we have a whole library of free educational resources. If anyone wants to visit our website at goldwealthmanagement.com, you go to the resources, and all these ebooks that I put together are there on different various subjects. Because as the CEO of Gold Wealth Management, the last thing I would want is for someone to do business with us and then after the fact say, hey, it would have been nice to have known this. So we try and address everything up front that we can possibly think of. There are times where people, say, yeah, I'm interested in gold and silver, but I really don't know what questions to ask. And that's where, we try to cover everything from A to Z to even something people haven't thought of. And as we're explaining things, someone's going to say, oh, I didn't even think of that, and it leads to a conversation. So that's what we're here for, is strictly for education. And if a person gets to a point where they say, hey, this makes sense, I do need to get some of my hard-earned money outside of the traditional banking system and US dollar and into a physical, tangible asset that I actually hold, such as gold and silver, whether it be bars or coins. If you get to that point, I know we can do a great job of helping you. We're very, very high. Our number one priority is customer satisfaction. We go the extra mile. I mean, I'm driving to Albuquerque, New Mexico next week to deliver an order to somebody because they don't feel comfortable having it shipped. So again, we'll go above and beyond to earn somebody's business.
It's awesome. And the other thing that you do is, because it's all about educating with this, what's so important to you, is that you also let people take their baby steps. You don't they don't have to do, where they have to buy a lot, and you're not even pushing in that way. There is no obligation. There is no minimums, from what I understand.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that, because there are a lot of people think right away, I'm going to have to do this, that, or the other thing. And let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, we have no minimum whatsoever than whatever the price of the product is. I mean, I have a number of clients that started out doing $100 here and there. One client comes to mind. He started with $1,000, and I didn't really know this family. I didn't know what their financial situation was necessarily, and they did a transaction of $1,000, and then once they saw how the process went, they did over $100,000 investment. They wanted to test things out and make sure, hey, this is legit, and how does this all work? So again, yeah, we have no minimum whatsoever when it comes to investing.
It's amazing to me that somebody can watch television in the late night and see a commercial and be able to, let's say, buy something they don't even know is really existing because they're not getting it in their hand. And that is what you have said many times, which is that you don't own it if you hold it or something.
If you don't own it if you don't hold it. Yes.
Exactly.
And that's what I want to be perfectly clear on. This isn't a paper transaction. This is, you give us money, we give you physical gold and silver that you have in your possession. It's not stored for you. If companies are talking about storing your metal for you, run. You talk about people watching late night television or whatever and buying off, online or the conservative radio. Every conservative media outlet is inundated with gold and silver companies, and most of them have a handful or at least one highly bought and paid for spokesperson. And some of these spokespeople are making 7 figures a year, and that cost is being passed on to the clients, and that's why we're very, very competitive. I mean, we can even be low online. Self-service places where they don't care if you know what you're doing, as long as you're filling your shopping cart and buying. Maybe you know that you're buying a product that's reportable to the IRS, or maybe you don't. We feel that's important. You should know before you pull the trigger and make a transaction. Why don't you get educated on the products? These products are simply worth the gold and silver content. These products have 2 values. They're not only worth the gold and silver content, but they have a small intrinsic value. These products will generate a 1099 to the IRS. These products would completely get your money off the government's radar, off grid, so to speak, with no 1099. So we explain all of that. And again, a lot of these companies don't care as long as you're placing an order. And I'll also say that these companies that are advertising on these conservative platforms, there's one company that comes to mind. It used to be, ask us how to get $15,000 worth of free silver, and now they've increased it to $20,000. I can assure you, no one is giving anything away for free, especially that amount. You get that free silver by paying a lot more per ounce than you need to be paying, and when it all works out in the wash, you didn't save anything. So.
Now, one thing that you asked me to ask today is it still a good time for people to buy gold?
Yeah, absolutely. There are people that feel that they've missed the boat, but you look at where gold and silver was. It was over $120 an ounce, and I haven't had time. I've been going nonstop today. I think it's around 85 today, and gold is around 5,100. I just read a headline earlier as I was out in the waiting room waiting. That if things break out with Iran, a couple of headlines are saying gold's going to right away go to $5,800 an ounce, and those tensions are heating up. And right now there's this great convergence for the first time in U.S. history where all of these things are aligning, and our entire system is built on a foundation of debt. We're approaching $39 trillion of debt in this country. We're adding $1 trillion every 100 days. The interest alone paid on our debt in 2026 is going to be over $1 trillion. So that's the foundation that everything's built on. And we've got a couple of reports here we can talk about after the break, and I'll go into some of the segments that we cover in those free reports.
Well, you do free consultations with people, and what you want to do is just educate them. His website is goldwealthmanagement.com. His phone number is 623-640-5911. And this Saturday, you're going to be having a seminar. I want you to talk about real quick, because we'll go back and talk about it.
Yes, we're going to have a seminar this Saturday at Pebble Creek Golf Club in Goodyear, Arizona. We're going to start at 10 a.m. We've got a lot of folks registered for that. We do have some seats available. It is RSVP, so we can get a head count for lunch. We will be providing lunch afterwards. So anybody that would like to RSVP and hold a seat, you can text or call 623-640-5911, 623-640-5911, and we'll hold a couple seats for you.
the main thing is about getting educated on this and understanding that this is not a paper transaction. Big, huge thing is that you are getting physical gold that you hold in your hand. No minimums, they like to educate you, that's the main thing that they want to do, and there's no obligation. Again, you can call them at 623-640-5911. Again, this Saturday, the 28th in Goodyear at 10 a.m. At Pebble Creek, you are going to be able to go there and meet him, and he's doing this seminar there. Again, give him a call at 623-640-5911. It's goldwealthmanagement.com. Hang tight, we'll be back in just a minute.
And there you go.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good.
already. I know, but when we talk about you, I think what's wonderful about it is that you kind of just go for it, and that's good.
Yeah.
So with your, I know there are e-books here that you've written. You've written a lot.
Yeah,
Okay. You really have, and my question to you, of all of your books that you've written, what is the most important, the first thing that people should understand about buying precious metals?
I've always been like, number one, why you need to get some of your money, and that's what this goes into, is the why. Both of these go into the why.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when people have their everything's going to be fine. My financial advisor says not to worry about anything. It's the market runs in cycles, whatever. And if someone's a couple of years away from retirement right now, they can't afford to lose 15, 20, 30%. They don't have enough time for it to recover. So the big thing is the why, and that's where these two come in. And then if the why makes sense to them, then the how to go about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a buyer's guide that explains different products and stuff.
Okay.
So there's really three pieces. We have other little reports on individual things like digital currency or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But these two is the why, and then our buyer's guide. And also we have an IRA booklet that explains the whole IRA process. So those four are the biggest ones.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and I don't understand why most everyone doesn't diversify their portfolio. Why are they so afraid of it?
Well, because the so-called professionals tell them you're crazy to invest in gold and silver. It doesn't pay dividends. It doesn't. My commercial's playing right now.
What's that?
My commercial's playing.
Oh, okay. But listen.
Yeah, I've listened
Yes,
to it
listen
1,000.
to it. Go on.
I've listened to it 1,000 times.
Listen to it again. It's on air.
Yeah. You didn't know I could sing that well, did you?
So welcome back. We are talking right now with Wes Peters, and he is the CEO of Gold Wealth Management. At the break, I started to talk to you a little bit about all of the ebooks that you have written, so many, and I asked you, what would be the most important one that you would want people to start with? And you had them here. You have them here, and I'm gonna let everyone see them on Facebook. And these are it's why. Why there's the why to get into the precious metals and to buy them. What is the why? And we're going to talk a little tiny bit about that. And that's obviously what you do at your seminars too. You have a lot of them. And this Saturday, the 28th in Goodyear, it's going to be at the Pebble Creek there, right?
Pebble Creek Golf Club in Goodyear, correct?
At 10 a.m. And you can go up onto his website and check him out there at Gold wealthmanagement.com. You can also call him and still get in on this at 623-640-5911. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's important to talk about why people need to. Again, my phrase is diversify some of your hard-earned money outside of the traditional banking system and U.S. dollar. And we could go on for the next hour talking about why. There's so many reasons, so many things that are lining up. Number one, a lot of people don't realize, Carol, that as soon as you put your money in the bank, it no longer belongs to you. It's part of that bank's capital structure. And the Dodd-Frank bill, after the 2008 financial crash, Senators Dodd and Barney Frank, got legislation passed saying that there will not be bailouts for these financial institutions in the future. They'll do bail-ins. And the way a bail-in works is if a bank gets in trouble, they'll lock their doors, cut off their ATM machines. You won't have access to your money. They'll run the numbers and say, hey, we're 30% short of being able to cover everybody. And when they unlock their doors and turn on the ATMs again, every account's missing 30%, so everyone takes the same percentage haircut. We've already had one bank fail so far this year, and more banks are going to fail. Jerome Powell is on record on 60 Minutes, and there's videos out there of him saying we expect more banks to fail. And you look at why that is. Right now, you look at the debt that these banks are holding, the unrealized losses that they have because they were locked into long-term bonds. They locked into these bonds back when interest rates were very low. And now interest rates, when interest rates went up, they sold out of some of those lower interest rate bonds at losses to lock into higher rates. But you look at that. You look at household debt. Household debt's reached $18.6 trillion. 1.3 trillion in mortgages, 1.7 in auto loans, 1.7 in student loans, 1.2 in credit card debt, and another trillion in other debts as well. So between what's going on geopolitically with Iran, I read that headline that gold could easily hit $5,800 an ounce if things break out in Iran. So all these geopolitical tensions with potential wars, the tariffs, the banking crisis, layoffs last year in 2025, there were a record number of layoffs as well. So people need to be looking for ways to get some of their wealth into physical, tangible assets that they can hold. Whether it's, I wouldn't necessarily be buying real estate right now. I think there's going to be a big correction in the real estate market as well. But physical gold and silver fills that void where you have something out of the system. For example, my clients that have been investing in gold and silver, people will ask, the number one question by far is, how do I use this? I can't go to the grocery store, I can't buy food with it, I can't go put fuel in my vehicle. Well, my clients have this money in gold and silver in their possession wherever they're storing it, and it's off the radar, so to speak. If we go to a digital currency and everything's converted at once, all your assets are on a ledger, and they're going to know all your transactions and everything. My clients, what they'll do, once all their other assets have been converted, they can convert their gold and silver on their terms as they need it. So if they've got 50 grand or 25 grand or however much over here on the sidelines, and they call up and say, hey Wes, we need $5,000 for XYZ, okay, let's sell this, this, and this, and we'll cut them a check based off of whatever currency we're dealing in at that time. So, and the thing that we really fight, Carol, is the professionals, in air quotes, professionals. And there are some very good ones out there, don't get me wrong. There's some great financial advisors and stockbrokers that do truly believe in diversification. But unfortunately, if someone approaches their financial advisor or stockbroker about buying physical gold and silver, they're going to look at them 9 times out of 10 like they're crazy. Why do you want to do that? It doesn't pay a dividend, it's an old relic. But gold and silver both far outperform any investment as far as the S&P 500, the Dow, the NASDAQ, by double or triple last year. I mean, the gold and silver were up significantly compared to those markets. But your advisor, when they hear you mention gold and silver, that means one of two things to them. A, you have more money you could be investing with them for them to make a living and feed their family. Or B, they're thinking about pulling some of the money that I currently manage and moving it elsewhere. And so that's one of the big hurdles that we have. And then people will hear, we have you invested in gold and silver. You're invested in GLD and SLV, which are ETFs, exchange traded funds. It's a paper investment. You are not holding physical gold and silver. those ETFs are great to speculate and make money, to get in and get out and buy and sell. But it's no safe haven investment. The only thing that's going to be a safe haven investment and get you outside the traditional system is holding physical, tangible metal in your possession.
You can check him out on his website. It's goldwealthmanagement.com. You're going to be doing a seminar at Saturday, the 28th, in Goodyear at Pebble Creek Golf Club. It's 10 a.m. You can still get in on it. There's a few, chairs that you said that you can get them into, and all you have to do is call them at 623-640-5911. Right there, it is really just not about getting and buying and right away doing everything. It's educating first and foremost. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, so I would just encourage people to request our free information. It doesn't cost you anything. We can send you the ebooks. You can go online and look at them. We can mail you hard copies. We try and make it as convenient as possible. I know some people prefer the hard copy in their hand. We'll be happy to mail it to you. And I might as well just mention it. We are going to be doing a seminar the first Saturday in April as well. I believe it's April 4th in the East Valley at Sun Lakes. And I think it's Ironwood, see? Ironwood. I don't have the information, but I do know it's Saturday, April 4th at Ironwood at 10 a.m. We'll be sending out some information on that as well. So, but again, it's all about information, education. Review the material, jot down all your questions, concerns. Let's have a no obligation conference call to discuss it. And like I said, if you get to a point where you feel like it does make sense to get some of your money outside the traditional system and the dollar, I know we have great pricing, and I know we'll do a great job for you.
And the other thing is that with these ebooks that he has, and you can also get tangible to hold on to them, but you have the why, and you have how to do it, the how, but you also have a guide of different products that you might be interested in. And then of course you also talked about the IRA booklet to me, and that's something you should talk about too.
Yeah, the IRA, we do a precious metals IRA where we help you transfer an existing IRA or old 401k or some type of retirement plan into a precious metals IRA. We're going from one qualified plan to another, so there's zero taxes, no penalties. It takes about 7 to 10 business days to get that completed, to get the money transferred into the new account. We help you do it every step of the way. And we buy physical gold and silver for that IRA. It's not a piece of paper, it's bars or coins sitting in that IRA for you. And so we have a piece that explains all of that, what that process looks like. And then our buyer's guide, again, we educate you on the products. A lot of companies, when you just determine you want to buy, they want to be the expert and tell you what to buy. And unfortunately, the way some of these companies do that is they pull up their inventory. They say, what do we have too much of right now that my manager is going to pay me some extra money to move and get off the books and get rid of? Well, our buyer's guide explains what's reportable to the IRS, what's not, what generates, the 1099, what has one value, what has two values. So our buyer's guide educates you on those products. And if you've already bought gold and silver and still have questions, I would encourage you to give us a call for our information or go to our website resources and read through there. You'll get some questions answered, I'm sure.
His phone number is 623-640-5911. Check him out on his website. It's goldwealthmanagement.com. I think there's never a bad time. There's never a bad time, especially to learn a little bit about it. And again, I think the most important thing is that this is not a paper transaction. It is physical gold and silver. I'm going to say it. So you've got this Saturday that's coming up on the 28th. There's a seminar there. I know that you have all the information on your website. It's goldwealthmanagement.com, or give him a call at 623-640-5911.